Hi there, my name is John Stevens, pastor of Zion Lutheran Church in Oregon City, Oregon, and we're part of the ELCA. And welcome to Dollar Store Children's Sermons, where we take a look at the lectionary text. We tie into an item from the Dollar Tree. This is for the 6th Sunday after Epiphany. We're looking at the gospel lesson out of Matthew, and Jesus continues the Sermon on the Mount, and we hear a whole list of, "You've heard it said this, but I say to you this. You've heard it said this, but I say to you this." And it seems to me that Jesus is reminding and expanding and telling us again that the law is about people. The law and what we've been given is about community and is about living with God and humans together, and that we're living together, and it's all about taking care of one another. That in all of this, where it's you've heard it say this, and I say, well, this expands it. He talked about killing and murder, and that's not good. And it's good to love your neighbors. It's good to hold them in community. The whole conversation about divorce, looking at women more than just property, and that there's a sense of that's expanded about how we treat one another. And so it seems to me, this, at first, when I first read it, I go, oh man, this is just laying more of the weight of the law upon me. But then as I'm reading through it, what I see is that Jesus is saying other people matter. Everything we do is for the bettering of community, for the strength of one another. So there's a couple of directions I'm taking with this. One is that we're better together. Did this for the narrative lectionary last week, but that we're better together. And that could be the strength of pencils. One pencil we can break, a whole bunch of pencils you can't. And that we are called to be in relationship with one another, that we're better together. The other is a ball. And I like the idea of a ball or even one pencil, the pencil that's sharpened. And I use the pencil imagery to talk about God's grace, that God gives us God's grace no matter what. God gives it to us. It's ours. This grace, there you go. God's freedom, there you go. God's gifts. God gives us all kinds of gifts, and God says, here you go, and gives us the pencil, and that pencil sits there, and that's my pencil. It's been given to me. But you know what? The pencil is a lot more useful when I use it, when I actually put it into practice, when I take the pencil and I write with it and I do what it was created to do, and that is to write, and that is to create. So the ball, I'm looking at the ball's been given to us, and the ball's great, but it's better when it gets put into practice. And whether you bounce it, or it's even more fun, if you will, to play catch with someone else as you're going back and forth and playing and involving the community. And this idea that the ball, it's there. God's given us the law. God's given us we've heard the Beatitudes, we've heard the Ten Commandments. God's given us these things. And then when we put it into practice, and how do we see these things as bettering for everybody and bringing them in? And it's better together. And it's taking the law, and when we put it into practice, I get to see my neighbor in a new way, in a way that God says, pay attention to them. This isn't just about you. This is about everyone. So those are the two directions, using the ball or using the better together, the pencil, multiple pencils, but ultimately that we see one another through different eyes. We see one another as people that matter, that the person that I see across the way is loved and redeemed and brought into God's mission and forgiveness and salvation and all of that, because God loves us all and God calls us into that mission. All right, so that's the direction I'm going. I'm hoping this can be a springboard for your own thinking around your children's sermon. And as always, thanks for stopping by. And please like this on YouTube and subscribe and wherever you get your dollar store children's sermon fix. Thanks for stopping by. I so appreciate your partnership in this ministry. Thanks.